Now on to our third award this evening, the News Features Award. This award recognises the work of freelance journalists in video news features that take a more in-depth look at a story beyond the immediacy of breaking news. Once again, the judges felt that the quality of the work in this category was incredibly high, and they want to give a special mention to Guillermo Galdos and his brother, cameraman Rodrigo Galdos, for trekking the Darien Gap. They travelled there with families, making the almost impossible journey from South to Central America and up to the Mexico-United States border. So let's give some well-earned applause to them for this second mention tonight. Our first news feature finalists are the team behind Finding My Torturer: Jake Taki, Victoria Arakilan, and Antoine Shearer. They took a very personal story about anti-war demonstrators in Russia and produced a powerful piece of investigative journalism. Let's see a clip and then hear what the judges had to say.
What you're hearing took place in a Moscow police station. This police station.
Я здесь владыка судеб, понимаешь?
Нет, ну есть закон.
Нету законов здесь, закон только вот здесь мой закон.
Since the Ukraine war erupted in February 2022, the most difficult task for journalists is representing the Russian side. And to gain the trust of these women is a very brave thing for the women to have done, and it's very impressive for the journalists to have worked so closely and gained that amount of trust.
Just after 3:30 p.m., Anastasia spots something coming toward them. Seconds later, she and the others are bundled into a police van.
So Finding My Torturer is one of those sorts of stories that, as someone in television, I would say it's a print story, because it's so complex and it's so picture poor. There is no video to support most of what's being talked about in the story. And I thought they did a fantastic job of using graphics and other elements to really lay out this complex investigation and then bring it to life and make the audience understand how you can do this sort of forensic digital investigation.
I think we shouldn't also forget that Finding My Torturer really allowed a voice to the women at the heart of it. It felt, whilst the journalists worked closely with the protests and allowing that story to be told, very much at the centre of it was the voice of these women. The journalists didn't overshadow it. It wasn't their story. They were part of the story, but they allowed these women to tell their story, their voice, and it allowed their experiences to come to the fore.
What I particularly liked about this finalist was that the approach to filmmaking was completely immersive. The investigation was the sort of central spine to the film, and it allowed for great creativity in terms of telling the story. The animation was superb quality, production values were incredibly high. Just a really creative approach to a very difficult story and a side of the story that we so rarely hear.
Next up is finalist Raul Gallego Arbean for his film Taking Up Arms in Palestine or Choosing a Peaceful Resistance, giving a unique and powerful insight on the long-running conflict, especially poignant in the light of the last few weeks' war and escalation of the situation. Let's see a clip and hear what the judges thought.
The difficulty with this story is that you are considered, even if you're doing your best effort, to be on one side or the other, and this didn't have that sense that it was celebrating any of the sides. It just kind of told you what was going on and how this is all existing in the same region at the same time. And these are the dangers. You know, we had that close-up shot at the funeral. We had talk of a fighter saying that, in fact, the ex-armed fighter, that when he's seen a baby being killed, that's what kind of
pushed him along a certain way. So the kind of victims were mentioned as well, which provided some context into it.
I thought there was a great level of drama in this story. It may have been luck or it may have been by design that they were there when the Israeli ground incursion happened, but it really built a lot of tension and drama and was really quite thrilling to watch.
So watching Taking Up Arms, the thing that struck me straight away was the level of access, trust and commitment that the journalist obtained with the resistance fighters, seeing these young men who are at the front line fighting for their cause, and the risk that follows not only from the Israeli side but also the journalists would have had as well really struck to me.
كل زقة وفي كل حارة بحارة الياسمينة صرنا نشم ريحة شهيد وريحة مسك الشهداء.
Yeah, I mean, this will have been an incredibly difficult film to make, and I thought it was powerful and thoughtful, and I think points of view that I've never heard before on something that is a subject that's fairly well covered, but I just felt like this opened up a different point of view and gave voice to people that I don't think I've heard from before.
So our third finalists in the category are Amit Malishia and Shirley Abraham, with their film The Great Abandonment, the extraordinary exodus of India's migrant labourers. It takes us right back to the COVID era of 2020 and the consequences of total lockdown. Here's a clip and the judges' comments.
देश के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने इस देश के इतिहास का सबसे बड़ा फैसला आपको सुनाया है। देश का हर हिस्सा कंप्लीट लॉकडाउन में चला जाएगा।
I mean, I thought The Great Abandonment was an incredibly impactful film. The level of access to the contributors, the confidence in letting them tell their story, to be immersed into their journey of what they were at, and also just very clever crafting. Staying on the shot of the female contributor while Modi's speech was underplayed by audio was such a simple but incredibly effective way of telling how decisions made by those in power impact the ordinary man, woman, child on the street.
This was just such a beautiful film, incredibly cinematic, but also gives voice to people that I think we so rarely hear from. The scenes with the families and the exchanges between neighbours and the fallouts, and it's just so incredibly intimate. And I think that the filmmakers will have won such incredible trust from those people.
I thought this piece was absolutely beautiful. It was cinematographic. It was so beautifully shot and edited and paced. And I was so struck by the foresight that it took to go out and start shooting as soon as people were being evacuated or pushed out of the city.
So there's a few scenes that will instantly memorable from the film after you've watched it. Everybody's waiting all together and there's a blanket, and the children, some children are hiding under the blanket, playing with each other, and the husband and wife say they're fine because we're close to them and that's all that they need. And then you see this blanket being used by a young boy tied around his neck, and it kind of flaps in the wind and he's like a little superhero. Just thought it was incredible, amazing. These are the heroes of Indian society. They are building everything and they are treated with indignity.
Now, to announce the winner, please welcome television news presenter, correspondent, broadcaster and journalist Mariam Nemazi.
Thank you. It's so wonderful to be with you all this evening. I've been a freelance journalist for most of my career, and it's brought me great opportunities, but it really is humbling and inspiring to be in the presence of some incredible journalists tonight. And actually, I have to say that it's been great to see India feature quite strongly. It's not a country that we see a great deal of in our global news coverage. It's a country that is very close to my heart. I have family there. The environment I used to spend a great deal of time there as a child, and the environment has really changed. Journalists subjected to a frightening level of pressure. So yeah, it really does take a lot of courage and bravery to deliver the kind of journalism that we've seen this evening. So it is a great privilege and a great honor to be here and to be able to support you guys. So the winner of the 2023 News Feature Award, Amit Medishian and Shirley Abraham, for their film The Great Abandonment, the Extraordinary Exodus of India's Migrant Laborers.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here on this evening, which feels like the rare safe space for the independent voice, especially coming from India. On most days, so many of us just feel like the canary in the coal mine, literally just singing our last song, honestly. This has probably been spoken of enough from this stage, and it's probably even dangerous for us to admit that that dissent, which essentially is the greatest strength of a democracy, is being completely criminalized and shut down in many countries around the world. Democracy has really become so much of a mythology. And I think it really is the need of the hour to strengthen and support these voices that are in deep peril. And I really want to thank The Guardian for helping us bring this story to light. And also to the Rory Peck Trust, this award really, really means a lot to voices like ours. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Rory Peck Awards, for this great honor. It was so humbling and encouraging to hear the jury talk about our work, and I just couldn't believe, but they were talking about scenes and, you know, how the craftsmanship, and it was really very heartfelt and encouraging for both of us. I would also want to thank The Guardian. We have Lawrence Topham, our executive producer here. Thank you so much for supporting our work. We also have another friend, Bren Fowley from Camden International Film Festival, who's supporting our next work, which is quite really courageous of both of you. So thank you so much. And yes, thank you, Rory Peck Awards, for considering a film like this, which is deeply political in a time in India where such voices are stifled and muzzled down. Thank you so much for recognizing us.
Congratulations again to Amit and Shirley. Well done. Now, let's welcome to the stage the other finalists in this category. Raoul for taking up arms in Palestine or choosing a peaceful resistance, and Jake for Finding My Torturer.
Well, thanks so much for the nomination. Actually, congratulations to the winners. This time I saw the two finalists and I was like, oh, I'm going to be nominated again, maybe, you know. But no, but really, like, I mean, the two other finalists, I think that the stories are amazing. I was very impressed. And I mean, I'm just going to say that I saw the video at the beginning, you know, that always we remind how important is the work of the freelancers. So I'm going to say the same I said last year. I mean, it's more important than ever to support freelancers. You know, we keep saying how important, you know, and but every year it's getting worse. You know, And I'm just going to put one example that I think a lot of the freelancers are suffering since the Ukraine war is the issue of the insurance. Like the price of the insurance to go to war zones, it's insane. It's impossible for the majority of freelancers to pay. So no, just remind that, and that's why the work that Rory Peck and other organizations are doing, it's so important, but it needs to be more, because as we see, the world is not getting a better place, and we want to keep, and it's important to keep reporting about that. Thank you very much, and congratulations to the winners.
Yeah, just to echo the huge congrats to the winners, and thank you so much to Rory Peck for the nomination. It's a huge honour. And I just wanted to mention really quickly that obviously this was massively a team effort. And the two other nominees, Vicky and Antoine, couldn't sadly be here tonight. So just to say, Victoria, who is there on the left, is in Canada at the moment. And I just want to say that she was completely the lifeblood of this investigation. She gained the access and then showed unwavering commitment and tenacity when it came to uncovering the perpetrators. And she's one of the most hardworking, driven, thoughtful journalists I've ever had the pleasure of working with. And then just on to Antoine, who's in France currently. I think he wouldn't mind me saying that he's definitely a genius. He really made the film what it was. He designed the look, he built the motion graphics, and he edited it all together so sharply. And he's also one of the nicest and easiest people to work with. So I'd hire them both as freelancers. And I just want to thank the amazing team at the BBC who sort of commissioned and supported this project. In particular, I just want to shout out to Bertram Hill, Bertie, who I really wish could have been here tonight. And he completely carried this project forward. He put in an incredible amount of work, and he did so with kindness, coolness, and not even an ounce of ego. And I'd just like to say I learned more working with him for 6 months on this project than I think I ever have. And just quickly to Mustafa Halili, who was our commissioner, our editor, our executive producer, sort of spiritual leader throughout the whole thing, who really guided this project from the beginning. And throughout, he always trusted our judgment and really had our development as journalists and filmmakers at the front of his mind. And we were all really, really lucky to have that. And just quickly, rest of the team at the BBC, Ned, Renako, Manisha, the Impact team, Mark, Dan, and all the others who made this possible, and also the freelancers we work with inside Russia, who sadly we can't name. And just quickly, I just want to thank the 3 stars of our film. You saw them briefly there, Anastasia, Marina, and Alexandra, who were prepared to share their story of abuse and fearlessly stand up to an oppressive system, despite any hope of real justice. And I know a lot of time has passed since these events, and the news cycle has certainly moved on, but I really hope that the story of these 3 women shows that it is possible for ordinary citizens to stand up to immensely powerful states and demand accountability for their crimes. Thank you very much.